Hey, I'm Beth Riley, and this is the Artist Spotlight podcast series. James is not with me today, but I do have a very special guest with me. It's Sara Shiloh Rae from Sara Shiloh Rae and Bluebird Junction. Hey, Sara, how are you?
Hey, Beth. It's so nice to talk to you.
I do want to talk about your new album, your self-titled debut album at that.
Fabulous.
What made you come out with an album now?
I'm originally from Venice Beach, California.
Okay.
And I grew up taking guitar lessons at McCabe's, which is the legendary guitar shop that also has a series and hosted people like Joni Mitchell and Bob Dylan and all kinds of wonderful folk and singer-songwriter types when I was growing up and before I was growing up, before my time as well. So I started life as a 10, 11-year-old baby singer-songwriter. And I came from a family that listened to a lot of bluegrass. We also lived in Chapel Hill, North Carolina at one point, and I got kind of steeped in that music while I was there. That's what we listened to at home. We listened to bluegrass. We listened to, my mother used to love the Seldom Scene, and we used to listen to Dolly Parton and Linda Ronstadt, and then later Joni Mitchell, and I got into Tom Waits. And so that's what I started life steeped in. And eventually I just discovered classical music. I discovered opera. And that kind of swallowed me whole, or I swallowed it whole.
Yeah.
And I went on to devote myself to a career path as an opera singer. So I moved to Europe after I graduated from Manhattan School of Music to essentially try and become a singer. And the ball kind of slowly got rolling and the gigs came, and I got really fortunate to have work, to have singing be my day job, basically. And so I specialized in a kind of music that is real modern, like 20th century, almost like a kind of atonal, 12-tone. It's called Second Viennese School. And that's what I did for most of my adult life. But this music that was in my heart, I'd be like staying at all these hotels and on the road. And the first thing I'd do, even if I was there to sing Hensa or Ligeti or something really modern classical, the first thing I do in the hotel is put on Alison Krauss or Joni. So that was like my comfort music when I was homesick, when I was lonely, when I was sad, I would put this music on. And when COVID hit, I'd finally hit my stride in the opera world. I'd had a debut with the London Symphony, and I had a debut in Tokyo doing Beethoven's Ninth. It was finally starting to blossom for me when everything came to the big screeching halt. And I got stranded in France, which is a whole story. I was supposed to sing an opera there. All the hotels closed. It was illegal to go to an Airbnb. They shut the border, so I couldn't get back to Berlin where I was living at the time. And basically, I called a girlfriend in a panic, a cellist girlfriend who lived in the rural Provence in the countryside, and said, listen, I've got nowhere to go. Can I rent your guest house until this whole thing blows over? Thinking, as we all did, that this whole COVID thing would last 3 weeks. She said, just get your butt down here and you stay as long as you need. And so I wound up spending almost 9 months in almost total isolation in this little agricultural village in Provence. And somehow in that time, I had just met this banjo player right before COVID hit. We'd had like one date, and he lived in my home state of California, and we'd had exactly 2 dates. And we had gotten into this really intense conversation about like Haiti West, and we were talking about Bill Monroe, and we were talking about Earl Scruggs, and we were just completely geeking out over sort of Americana bluegrass folk music. And something had started, but then COVID hit and we were separated. My whole opera season was obliterated. And he said, why don't we start making some music together? Just to, we're not going anywhere. And so he started sending me files of him playing the banjo. And at first we were just doing covers, just to kind of keep our spirits up. And we did a Gillian Welch tune, and we did a Dylan tune, and we did the Peter Rowan tune, just to keep our spirits up. And he had the number of some really great guys, a really great fiddler called Alex Hargraves, and a pedal steel player called Mike Robinson, who tours with Sarah Jarosz, and Miles Sloniker on bass, who am I forgetting? Jacob Jolliffe on mandolin. Really great players, really, really great players who were all at home because it's COVID and no one has anywhere to go. So we started doing this, and we posted them online just for kind of our friends and family. And people said, you got to keep doing this. There's something here. You have to keep going. And eventually I wound up moving back to California and moving in with this German banjo player who's now my fiance. We're getting married this year.
Oh, well, congrats.
Thank you so much. And we moved on to this farm that we're now living on, this former vineyard that we're turning into a regenerative farm, and growing apples and making grapeseed oil and trying to transform the soil into something that doesn't have chemicals in it. So we do that, and we make music together in real life now. And we posted one song online about 8 months ago. We said, what, why don't we try some writing? Now we've been kind of doing all these classics. We did Tennessee Waltz, and we did Blue Kentucky Girl, and we did an old Western swing number called Cow Cow Boogie. What we try some writing together? So we wrote one song together, and we posted it online. And within about 5 minutes, we had a DM from someone saying, do y'all have funding to make an album? And I said, well, we don't, but if you know someone who'd like to fund it, I'd sure love it if you sent them our way. Yeah. And he said, well, I'd like to. And this gentleman happens to be the former general director of the Nashville Opera. So he's actually from the classical world, but kind of had a foot in the whole Nashville scene as well.
Right.
So he gave us the seed money to make an album. So we spent the next 8 months writing, and we got a group of these amazing musicians to come out to the ranch and stay with us. And we kind of made an album the old fashioned way, where we all cooked together and ate together, and they helped us herd goats and do odd jobs on the ranch in between rehearsing. And we recorded at a wonderful studio right here in San Ynez with a wonderful guy called Joel Jacks, and really had a real beautiful old school album recording experience.
Some of the cover songs that you do, there are a few of those on there. Mm-hmm. One of them is actually a guy I did a show on not too long ago, Townes Van Zandt, his White Freightliner Blues. You guys did a cover of that.
Townes is very dear to both my heart and my partner Max Pitzel's heart as well. If there was like a holy altar, a holy pillar of the gods of songwriting, I mean, for me, he's kind of it.
You also had some special guests on the album. Tell me about those special guests.
We did. We had Jake Workman, who is just, the man plays guitar like an angel. He plays for Ricky Skaggs, Kentucky Thunder. And he was a guest on the grassiest number on that. We have one number on the album that's sort of the most bluegrass informed. And so Jake came onto the album and he played the guitar solo on that, and he just killed it. We were so excited to have him. Just about the nicest man you'll ever meet in your life, and just really plays like an angel. And then we had a wonderful cellist called Molly Aronson, who, this gal can play anything. She plays classical music. She plays Americana like nobody's business. She kind of is one of those souls who is able to transform herself into various genres gorgeously. Right. And so she played cello on our song, Just in Case It's You. And I love her work. I really love that she came on board as well.
Okay, I have to ask for my husband. He does a syndicated surf show. Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite song by the Beach Boys?
I think it would definitely have to be Surfin' USA, because as a little girl, my parents sent me to ballet and tap, early childhood dance lessons, and we had to do a group dance. All the little girls had to do like a surfer dance. I guess that must have been in our jazz class, to Surfin' USA. And we got to perform it for all the moms and dads. So that's like a cringy but also beautiful memory.
Now, if there's video out there, no, I'm kidding.
Oh my God, I wish. I mean, not I wish, but it could be used for blackmail for sure.
And this one's for me. Do you have a favorite James Taylor song?
Oh, definitely. I'm going to have to say it's a tie between Fire and Rain and Caroline on My Mind.
Okay, what about Jackson Browne?
Jackson Browne. Okay, this is, I'm going to hang my head in shame. Jackson Browne, I am new to as an adult, if you can believe it. I feel unequipped. I'm delving into his music as an adult.
Well, Sarah, it's been nice talking to you. I'm just kidding.
Amazing.
I'm kidding.
You're we're done here.
Yeah, it's been nice. He's been one of my favorites for many decades.
Well, now I'm even more inspired to delve even further. He means a lot to a lot of people whose musical taste I have a lot of respect for, so I clearly have to delve in more.
His newest album, Downhill from Everywhere, came out last year. It's really good. I mean, he's 73 years old and he's still just amazing. But yeah, definitely dig into his collection. I always encourage people that don't know much about his music to do that. And he's really good friends with James Taylor, too. So
I will do.
I want to thank you for your time and taking the time to chat with me.
This was fun.
Yeah, I had a blast.
Me too.
And congrats again on the engagement.
Oh, thank you. And speedy recovery to your husband. And yeah, I look forward to being in touch.